Well, hello there.
Why, hello there.
We're talking Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Not just Obi?
Not Obi, not Ben Kenobi, but Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi today.
Because we wanted to have a video recorded that we could put up during our little mini break that we're taking. Because nothing really ages a video as well as putting in those caveats right at the start.
Are you telling me we're not live at this very moment?
We're not live at this very moment.
We are actually recording an episode?
We're recording an episode. We are doing what we can to increase the video output that we do on Jam and Jabber.
Wow. I'm so proud of us.
Me too.
We've been talking about recording for a while.
We have. And what better topic to start with than our thoughts and feelings with the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries on Disney+. Because we just barely finished watching it yesterday.
Yeah, and I've got opinions.
Yeah, we got opinions about the show. And you know what they say about opinions is that everyone has them and they all smell fantastic, right?
Yeah, that's the saying.
Yeah, that's the saying. It has nothing to do with buttholes and they all stink.
Yeah, no. Why are we talking about buttholes? We're talking about the critically acclaimed, well-written plot.
Yeah, not the Sarlacc pit. Not the space butthole of the Sarlacc pit.
No, this is the critically acclaimed, amazing story that is the Obi-Wan, the TV series.
Super duper amazing.
Exclusively streamed on Disney+.
Exactly, because they know what they're doing, right? I mean, they paid $4 billion for it. They should know what they're doing.
I mean, anything they do Star Wars related is just automatically going to give them buckets full of money, right?
I know, it's Star Wars is an ATM, right?
I mean, that's what it worked for the Force Awakens series.
I mean, that's what the prequels did. It just made George Lucas money, right?
So much money.
Right?
Actually, it really did.
It did.
It really made him a fucking shit ton of money.
This guy didn't direct anything for 30 years. And then he directed the prequel movie series and just printed money for himself.
I mean, there was so much hype for it. So many people were so excited. And there are still some people who are very like, no, the prequels are better than the original.
No, they're not.
Because the original look old.
No shit, they were made 50 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, actually, so last night, we finished watching the Obi-Wan series. And then I was just like, I need to watch A New Hope. Like, I just need to watch all the Obi-Wan scenes just to kind of put the context in, because the Obi-Wan series is like that filler between the prequels and A New Hope. And, like, I just want to say, first and foremost, Ewan McGregor, fantastic job. I mean, I'm not saying that because he's a big-name actor, and I had a crush on him when I was a young person.
I mean, I still have a crush on him. Let's be honest.
I mean, he's a very handsome man.
He is a handsome man.
But like, it's more of, I mean, even when I watch the prequels, and I was like that. Ken and I were that target audience of like the right age group for.
We were like 14 when the movie came out.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit older, you know, so that, like, the whole space trade route things weren't as kind of boring.
I mean, they were boring.
They were boring.
Yeah.
But we were, like, old enough for, like, oh, yeah, I understand the political stuff like this. Yeah, totally. I get it.
I can pretend I'm smart.
And so, my mom was super, super obsessed. She had us, she went, like, midnight showing, like very like expensive theater, the Cinerama in downtown Seattle, for those who are aware of it. Like all of the above. We went through, got all the toys, we did all the things, and then for those who don't know, it's a certain holiday we are recording on.
Yeah.
I don't know if these background sounds will pick up on our audio or not, but you can guess what major American holiday it is while we're recording. You get a gold star.
You get 50 gold stars, quite frankly.
Absolutely. We're just going to give them all out like candy. Not that holiday, though.
No, it's not Halloween.
No. Oh, God, I wish I wish it was.
Oh, I wish it were.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's technically like Halloween. You get to dress up and pretend that you're something you're not.
Old Navy sales. Gotta get your costume at Old Navy.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I mean, like, even like during the whole like watching the prequels, like my own mother was really into the first film. Like, then when the hype started to come down and everyone was like, oh, I think that sucked. Like, yeah, I think that really sucked. When the hype finally came down enough. People finally were like, oh, yeah, I think that sucked. And when the second one came out, my mom didn't make as big of a deal of it. And I remember, like, in the theater watching it with my mom, and like the whole scene with Anakin, it's like, no, mother, she and I laughed.
Oh yeah, that weird orgasmic dream sequence.
Oh, we laughed so hard. We were those obnoxious people in the theater. But long story short, I think Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job in the prequels.
Yeah.
Even though I hated them, they deserved a lot of the criticism that people still give them. And if you really like the prequels, I'm not gonna try to poo-poo on your feelings, and it's no comment to you or anything.
It's more comment on Disney for trying to make it seem like it's good. Because
I have comments about what you're drawing right now.
About my Darth Vader?
Your Darth Vader, naked Darth Vader.
Excuse me for drawing like a mannequin to figure out the shape. Like... Jeez.
I'm so used to you drawing on stream that, like, your whole actual process of drawing a human.
Me wanting to draw good versus fast.
It's really
it's very different.
Just like this is a costume in a different type of store.
Oh, jeez. No, I'm not. I am not drawing some sort of like lover's leather daddy Vader. Thank you very much.
You know, I wasn't gonna say the words, but you did.
I did.
You did say.
I said the words, and now I'm sure someone's already drawn leather daddy like chaps Vader.
I'm sure it already exists.
The internet has been a thing for some time now.
I'm sure that thing existed since the 70s, man.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Somebody was like, I really love Judas Priest, and I really love Star Wars, and I'm going to combine the two.
Somebody is probably close to our age who was created on a night with this type of fetish sex.
There's already a Star Wars burlesque show out there. I don't need to think about any of this other stuff for IPs. I don't know.
Toxic fans aside.
Yeah.
I do think that what Obi-Wan, like, again, Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job playing the role of Obi-Wan.
Absolutely.
Even when he had the dumb hairstyle. Even like throughout the whole prequels, that man showed up and he did a fucking great job.
Oh, yeah.
And he did like a reprisal of this same role amazingly. Like, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years and he just put right back into that role. Did it beautifully. Like, I'm not trying to say that he's like the best actor in the whole entire world, but I really enjoyed his performance of Obi-Wan in his own show, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we have spicy opinions about the show. From everything I've heard from, like, different people on, like, social media platforms, on YouTube and other places, the general consensus is that was a show.
Yeah.
It exists now. It's a thing.
It is a thing in the world.
It exists now, and it's canon. My complaints about... So overall, I would say I like the show. What about you, Ken?
Overall, I enjoyed myself. Like, there's definitely things that I think the writers could have done better, and that's really the gist of my complaints, is with the writing on the show.
Yeah.
I don't fault any one actor in particular. I mean, how many nerds have, like, been upset that frickin'... Why am I spacing on his name? Mark Hamill, like, they weren't thrilled with his reprisal of Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogies. And, like, they blamed Mark Hamill for that. Like, why? It's the writers who wrote the character, who gave him what he had to work with in the show or in the movie. And it's the same with the shows. It's the same for all of it. You love Mandalorian? Well, guess what? That's why am I spacing on his name now too? Whatever, dude. Oh, man, I'm spacing
the
on his name.
writers of the Mandalorian.
The writers of the Mandalorian. The name will come to me after we finish recording, I'm sure. He played Happy Madison in the Iron Man movies. Whatever his name is, I can't remember. But, like, dude pretty much had free reign to do whatever he wanted in Mandalorian. And guess what? It was an amazing story because he took the time to tell a good story.
Yeah.
And I think this Obi-Wan series was mostly just Disney like, hey, we like money.
Well, I mean, The Mandalorian really revitalized Star Wars after the Force Awakens series just tanked at the box office.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Disney was like, oh, we can't fail, right?
Right.
It's just money. Star Wars equals lots of money. And that's, I think, where
I transform this.
It's not like, I wouldn't say like failure, it's just really just not being aware of what makes Star Wars successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and so many times, like, people were saying, I wish that the Force Awakens series never had anything to do with Skywalkers.
Oh, God, you're right.
It would have been so much better. Like, make it... Oh, now we got Double Vader going on.
Okay, so behind the veil, on the... Here's how the sausage gets made, pretty much. I'm using that initial Vader as a template for drawing Obi-Wan, so I get their size and proportions pretty equal to each other.
Oh,
and then
that's a good call.
Readjusting the size and everything. Hopefully this makes for a good video. But yeah, like I said, you get to see how the sausage gets made today.
Wow. Here I thought it was intestines all along. I mean, maybe we might get some of that later.
Yeah, right, if the lightsaber cuts him in half.
So, yeah, like, I also feel the same about the series. Overall, I would say I enjoyed it. I liked the story that they told with Princess Leia.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the story. I liked the chemistry between Obi-Wan and Leia. I liked what they were focusing on Obi-Wan. But, I mean, like a lot of people on the internet have already said, it's the third sister...
Yeah, Reva.
Reva. That was my biggest complaint. Just because her story made no goddamn sense.
The writers did no justice for her.
And it just took me out of the story. To be perfectly honest, it took me out of the story whenever, like, they would bring her character and just force it into the story.
Force. Her. Like, I love the concept for her character. Absolutely. And this video is going to be rife with spoilers, y'all.
Oh, yes. Spoilers.
But, like, I love the concept of, like, a youngling who survived Vader's execution of them and wants revenge, like, feels jaded and jilted towards the Jedi for not doing enough to protect them. And, like, that's a good concept. I don't think the well, I enjoyed the concept. It could be a better... I think it could be done better if it were executed better. And that's more my point, is, like, that could have been so much better. But I think for that, it would require Reva to have her own show. And just not what they did to her.
I have some ideas of how I would fix stories. I am the kind of person that I don't like to be like, that sucked. But, you know, my brain won't let me turn certain things off until I fix it. Because I'd much rather, like, you know, here are my complaints, and this is how I think would be a better story.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish that more, like, so many how many times does Star Wars have to go through the same exact lesson where you have too many yes people and not enough people challenging them on creative endeavors?
Yeah.
Like, I just told Ken last night that Han Solo was originally supposed to be a lizard man. Like, that was his original design, and the other people who were involved were like, George Lucas, that's kind of dumb. We got this really handsome guy who's just kind of working over here.
Yeah.
I think he would be better for the role. And George Lucas tried to fight it. Like, he was really upset by what they wanted to try to do with Han Solo. And, but I mean, how many toys and how many people? Yeah. That's a whole other different conversation. Han shot first.
He did. He absolutely did. And I hate, like, Disney, if you're listening, please release the theatrical cut onto Disney Plus. It's so much better than the remastered. It's so much better.
I think there might be something like contract like obligations and shit like that. Like, George Lucas loved his remastered versions with the terrible CG.
I hate the remastered. Like, I'm so glad I grew up in the age of VHS where I could watch the original theatrical release. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My personal opinions is, like, again, my biggest complaint was Reva,
yeah.
Thank you. Reva's character. And again, not on the actress's part.
Oh, no.
It was 1,000% the writers. The writers wrote her so terribly. There's a bunch of different YouTubers we watch, and they all came to the same conclusion of, like, again, we're coming into spoilers. She's mad because, like, Anakin killed younglings. And so she kills Force-sensitive people, some the same age as her, who were probably younglings too, so that she can get to Vader, so that she can kill him.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make any sort of sense of, like, why would she kill other Force-sensitive people if what she was trying to do was get revenge for him killing Force-sensitive people. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The fact that the Inquisitors, right?
Yeah.
The Inquisitors were just so, like, you have absolutely defied us for the last time. Now we're going to leave you right here. Now don't you go anywhere. Don't you do anything that we wouldn't approve of.
We're not going to arrest you or anything.
We're not going to take you away. You just stay right there and you be a good little girl.
We're going to trust you to do to do exactly as we tell you to do, even though the problem right now is that you aren't doing what we're telling you to do.
You have defied us for the 5th last final time. And we're very grumpy about it, but we're not going to do anything to stop you. And that was, like, her character should have been cunning. Her character should have been, like, if that was really her plan, she should have done more to actually, like, be cunning, because she was, like, brash. She was, like, in your face.
Yeah.
So let me rewind a little bit. Let me say, because again, my whole thing is I don't like to just complain about a story. If I see something I dislike, my brain says, how would I fix this? And if you want to keep her character in this series, this is how I think you would have fixed it. Is that you make her character kind of like an Anakin and kind of like a Princess Leia.
Yeah.
You make her like this from this very prestigious family. She grew up being very entitled. Like, she maybe, like, her family is, like, part of this big trade ship armada. Like, you know, like, they basically make a lot of money. And so she kind of has, like, princess, like, status just because her family's very wealthy. But she grew up being Force sensitive, but didn't come into it until later in life. And so she had these ideas, oh, I'm going to become a Jedi because I'm Force sensitive. This is so cool. Again, sense of entitlement. But they're like, oh, no. She's way too old to start the training. No. We're not doing this. We made an exception for Anakin, but we're not doing that shit again. Yeah. But this could be like, you know, years and years and years before Anakin was even a thing. Whatever. Actually, no, because that wouldn't work out the timeline. But anyways, like, we've done this once, but we're going to stick true to this. You're too old. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Because you are influential, you've got a lot of money, we don't want you slipping to the dark side. We'll just give you a Jedi trainer just to basically train you one-on-one.
Yeah.
You don't get to be a Jedi, but you get to have, like, learn how to use your Force-sensitive skills so you don't slip to the dark side.
Yeah. You know, the nice juxtaposition on that, too, is, like, Anakin had Qui-Gon who went to bat for him. Like, if Reva didn't have, like, anyone kind of championing her cause, then, yeah, that could be kind of, like, the first signs of, like, the cracks on the facade happening. Like, oh, no one believes in me. Well, I need to prove myself that much more. And which is really nice because proving yourself is a theme throughout the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't come into like the last little bits.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can kind of see some things with Leia. You can kind of see some things here, kind of see some things there. And I liked that, like, the danger of like seeking validation from outside sources when you should find the validation within. That's not a bad theme for this kind of story.
It's a good message, yeah.
Like, the one scene that we really, really liked was when they went back and forth, where it was, like, the time of the Old Republic and then post.
Yeah,
where they were fighting, like, it was Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting each other. And in this fight, like, Obi-Wan says, your need for approval will be your undoing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the overall theme of, like, how he's able to outwit this. But again, just, it was really bad writing. And with Reva's character... And she had the power of editing where she could just teleport different places.
Oh gosh, that was my biggest problem. Like, she teleported to the end of the tunnel where Leia was running away to. She managed to teleport all the way to Tatooine. Like, well, all the hullabaloo is still going on with Vader and Obi-Wan. Like, how did she jump around so fast? Like, that was one of my biggest complaints on the show.
Didn't you know that Tatooine is like 5 minutes away from every place, every corner of the galaxy?
It's like the best like gentrified planet in the galaxy, quite frankly.
You know when like Luke said like it was the furthest away from pretty much everything?
Yeah.
Well, that was a big ding-dang lie.
Clearly.
You can get there in 5 minutes. Obi-Wan did.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Obi-Wan got there in time.
So she could have her dumb redemption arc that was completely unnecessary.
It really was.
Again, going back to how I would fix it, again, you make her kind of like this very privileged princess. She was like thought she was gonna become a Jedi warrior, was denied that because of these other complications, and just kind of holds a resentment towards the Jedi Order. Like, I'm too old. It's because I have money, because of who I am. I'm not allowed to follow my dreams. Something that was told to me that basically would be gifted to me. Because I am Force sensitive, that something was robbed from me. There's your first strike against the Jedi.
Yeah.
Then when the whole Order 66 came through, so ding-dang evil. The evilest of numbers.
So evil.
So evil. So Order 66 goes over, and the like Jedi who is like basically like training her is told by their Jedi, is like, hey, they're starting to hunt us, get the hell out of there. And he's like, all right, bye, I'm out of here. See you, Reva. Good luck on your training. I'm out.
Yeah.
And like you could have it where her whole family gets killed, and it's like, but you can show how like maybe she didn't really know her parents very well, so her parents dying and all of this, she's kind of disattached. Like, oh, well, what's going to happen to me now? She may have, like, a nanny who was the one who basically raised her, helped her get out of, like, their estate, their mansion, and they're, like, going from town to town to town, and the nanny's trying to figure stuff out, running out of cash real fast, and then probably is like, oh, don't worry, Reva, I got you everything figured out. You know, the best course of action, the Republic, or the Empire is not that bad, and I think you're going to have a really great career with them. Basically, like, pawns her off to enlist into the army of the Empire and just nopes out of there. And because she's this privileged princess, she does no, like, idea how the real world works. She's like, okay, I guess I'm part of the Empire. But then quickly they find that she's Force sensitive. Like, all right, we're doing this with you. Like, you're gonna be over here doing stuff. And eventually she kind of works her way up through the Inquisitors. And again, being the theme of seeking validation, she probably, instead of like, she probably would have like this moment where she would fight. And like, I'm not gonna do that. This food is gross.
Yeah.
And like, you take too many things for granted. And then she realizes real quick that she's not where she is and she's gonna have to work really, really hard, that she's not gonna be gifted like things to her on a silver platter, and she has that real hard like truth, and then that resentment even more to the Jedi. Like, oh, and what we're doing where we're hunting Jedi, and her being like, huh, seeing this kind of as an opportunity to turn things around, finally to gain the approval of these people who, like, treated her like shit, rather than her holding them accountable, you know?
Yeah.
And then slowly starts to work her way up the ranks, and to the point where you see her in the miniseries where she is like, oh, you want me to do this? Sure. Want me to bend over backwards? Sure. Like, just do whatever they ask, because she's seeking that validation. Rather than being so quick and impulsive, she's like, does whatever she's told to do. And like, you can have her redemption arc be in that time where you finally, like, they're trying to get these Force sensitive kids out, and she might overhear a conversation of like, oh, what's gonna happen to me now? I'm so scared, Mom. I thought I was gonna become a Jedi. No, I'm sorry, sweetie, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not a possibility.
Yeah.
And suddenly she's kind of like, it's a slap across the face because it's her own story.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at the very end, when, like, the shuttle's taking off, her redemption arc could be that she helps them to escape.
Yeah.
She defies Vader to his face, and he even says, your need for approval, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, or somebody else says that line to her, and, oh, Vader overhears it, and he was like, oh, fuck. You know, again, full circle of, like, this, what eventually led Anakin to the dark side was this need for approval. And same thing with her, where she ended up killing all of these innocent people, was that need for approval. And she finally was able to have that redemption. And then you kind of see this moment in Vader where he's like, he could have that redemption arc too, but he chooses not to.
Yeah.
He's like, it's too late for me, you know? And like
yeah.
something like that would have been a much better, more compelling story. I would have much liked her character so much more. She didn't need to be a youngling. And honestly, how they portrayed it was so, like, transparent. They were just like...
Oh, yeah, they telegraphed that. The big reveal, like, on episode 2.
No, it was the very first scene. In the very first episode, they show the scene.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason, I thought it was episode 2.
No, they were like the very first thing. Hey, by the way, Reva is a youngling.
Yeah,
so there's no surprise. There was no reveal, which that would have been much better. You know, that would have been a much cooler reveal.
Like, honestly, if they had treated it more like a game of cat and mouse, like Obi-Wan has to learn about Reva's history to try to defeat her, and then he discovers, oh, she was a youngling, like, that would have been a much better reveal for it.
And do more with that character who was trying to pretend to be a Jedi.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you came up with this idea, and I'm going to say it so you can focus on Dry.
Thank you.
But, like, the Inquisitors be more of your antagonists, and not Reva and Darth Vader, because that was stupid. Yeah. But have the Inquisitors be your main antagonists.
I would have loved that.
And they would have been, like...
What? It didn't... Sorry.
You're okay.
I just realized it... Meh.
You know, drawing's hard.
Drawing can be hard.
Yeah. So, like, they are looking into a situation in which they're basically, you know, again, hunting down Force-sensitive people. And, then Obi-Wan can stumble across this. He can find out. Like, you can have the story with Leia. You can do a lot of those similar things. Like, I didn't mind the story with Leia, but it kind of complicates this timeline of the story. Like, you helped my family during the Clone Wars. Not like, hey, remember that time when you saved my life? Got... You know, you can't retcon everything. I mean, I guess they could just CG her face and redo that whole entire scene to add that.
I mean, they CG'd Carrie Fisher for Rogue One anyway.
They could do anything now.
They can.
Yeah.
Disney owns their faces.
They could have another remastered version.
I hate that that's not even, like, far-fetched, is that Disney legitimately owns their faces.
They could do it.
They could do it.
But, like, again, yeah, you can keep the story with, like, young Leia. That's fine. It wasn't too far-fetched. It was a cute story. I enjoyed the things that happened. I mean, so many people hate, like, kid actors. They're kids. What kind of kid actor is any, like...
Yeah.
How many of them are actually good?
Right.
And don't say that one kid, so-and-so Lionheart or Wolfheart.
Oh, Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard. He's not really a kid anymore.
Not really, no.
No, and it's just a self-insert character. He's just self-insert for many
so,
Gen Xers.
So many people wish they were Finn Wolfhard growing up. Like, he seems like a legit cool kid, but yeah, like, it's so many Gen Xers, so many of his fans just wish they were him.
Yeah. Or they're like, that's me! That was me when I was a kid!
That was totally how I viewed myself, even though I was a nerd in the library who didn't talk to anybody.
That was totally me.
Oh.
A self-insert character for kids.
Yeah.
My kid version of myself. But regardless, I mean... Like, not very many kid actors are actually good, and I think she did an okay job. Like, I think she was a good kid actor. Like,
oh, absolutely.
That's good. But, you know, I mean, you can keep those elements, you can keep that, but honestly, just remove Vader from it, being like, or if you are going to bring him in at the very end for that, like, rising in action and have that big suspenseful moment. But honestly, like we were talking about, like the other character who was kind of posing as a Jedi, like have people like doubt if even Obi-Wan's still alive.
Yeah.
Like the Cenobite characters. Sorry, the
Inquisitors. Yes, they look like Cenobites.
They look like Cenobites from Hellraiser.
They absolutely look like Cenobites.
But have them, like, they basically stumble across all these things, and, like, you can have Leia be kidnapped for other reasons.
Yeah.
She's a high-profile person. She could have ran away from home. You could have made her a little bit older and have her run away from home. Yeah. Like, she could have been, like, really conflicted about, like, the fact that she's adopted. And she's like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. You know? And for that kind of case, you wouldn't necessarily want to bring the whole armada on and say, yeah, we're having some domestic issues.
Yeah.
Like, you may just call on your old friend, you may call on your old friend, Obi-Wan, to come in and help you out in this situation. You're like, he's like, I don't know, kids, like, but you did train younger people at some point. That was a long time ago, man. He's like, I think if there's anybody who could reach her, it's somebody like you. You understand people better. I don't know anybody else who could handle this and keep it discreet.
Yeah.
You know, just have her run away from home and then ends up getting kidnapped. Like, oh, a senator's daughter. Well, look at you. What the hell are you doing out of your castle, princess?
Yeah.
You know? And she can, too, also have that, like, sense of entitlement suddenly taken from her when she realizes, oh, shit, I really am nobody in this bigger scheme of this world. I am my actions. Yeah. I am the person who I want to, like, the person who can help people, like, you know, all the other things you could have done with her character, you know?
I do really love the idea that, like, of treating Reva as being kind of a dark mirror for what Leia's future could be. Like, that, I think, is really clever.
And then, again, bring in those same kind of elements, but seeing a different character. That's how you tie in a character like that. Not by, like... Because her character was just so different and just kind of forced into this. And again, her story wouldn't have been so bad, but if it wasn't written so bad.
Yeah.
Like, again, the whole, like, Inquisitors are like, you have defied me for the last time, so you just stay right here.
Yeah.
Don't do anything.
We're not giving you any consequences. We're gonna let you just parkour, just get real tired running around the roof doing some force acrobatics that nobody liked from the original or from the prequel trilogy.
But we gotta pad this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so stupid. There were so many dumb decisions and choices that were made, And especially with her whole, like, forced redemption arc at the end.
Yeah,
Of, oh, that's cool that Luke got knocked out so he couldn't remember that he saw a lightsaber when he was a kid. That's real convenience. Real convenience.
Oh my gosh, that was so dumb.
She, like, teleported there after supposedly getting, like, a mortal wound.
She got lightsabered in the chest. How do you, like, just asking for Qui-Gon, how do you survive that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, left them for dead. Nobody confirms the kills in this show.
God, no,
They've taken 2 seconds of like, I just threw a bunch of rocks on Obi-Wan. That should do him in. You know, I was with him in all of these other instances. He fought a robot that had 40 lightsabers.
Yeah.
He kicked my ass, chopped off my arms and legs, and left me as a scab. Like, I think he might have survived that. Why don't you just wait like 2 more seconds? Oh shit, he came back. Oh, dang it, Obi-Wan. Man.
You got me. Wah, wah.
It's just really inconsistent, poor writing. And those little details, I think I would have overlooked if the rest of the story was better. But because you had one glaringly bad written character and like a lot of other just inconsistencies, like again the Inquisitors not holding her accountable at all after like, you have to fight us for the last time. And I know I'm saying this a lot, but they said it a lot in the show too.
They really did.
Like
they really heckin' did.
And I'm like, is no one reading the script?
Apparently not.
Because this is like the 5th time this man has said, you have defied me for the last time.
Yeah.
Is she gonna get some sort of repercussion? That's because, like, then going back, that, like, her whole plan for getting close to Vader makes no goddamn sense, because if there was actually, like, you've defied me, okay, she'd end up in jail, and her whole plan would have been for nothing. She killed all of those Force-sensitive people for nothing.
Yeah.
Where is the cunning? Where is the actual plan? Oh, we didn't think that far when we wrote her character. You're just gonna have to get all the way off my back on this one.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, I mean, you could keep, like, certain things in this, but, like, really, like, her character, because it was so poorly written, it just made all of the other mistakes and other, like, plot holes just so glaringly more obvious. Because you have, like, it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room, and then you notice everything else, like all the giraffes and gazelles that shouldn't be there either, like, what the hell, right? Normally you probably would have ignored those details, or probably could have just forgiven it, you know, okay, whatever, it's a dumb action, like, series. It's Star Wars isn't, like, the epitome of perfection when it comes to good storytelling, but, like, having those really just poorly written shit, it just makes it that much more, takes you out of the story. And that's, I know I keep going back how I would fix things, and the biggest thing is either get rid of her character or fix her character, make her more of an echo of the themes that were already happening in the series. But, like, honestly, like, when you say, like, cat and mouse, like, the whole, like, the Inquisitor people, like, they stumble across, they're just doing their thing, and then Obi-Wan stumbles across some of the stuff, and they seem to cross paths, and they're like, oh, it's just some other random ass dude, like, bring him in, and they don't even realize who the fuck he is, back and forth, because everyone's like, I think Obi-Wan's dead, like, oh, and when you, because we rewatched episode 4, A New Hope, and Vader doesn't seem like, it's Obi-Wan. Yeah. He's like, oh, my old master. And he's just kind of like, huh, you're here? What the fuck are you doing here, man?
Yeah.
Like, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Like, you were an old man. And their whole fight was just like, ping, ping, ping.
Yeah, it was very lackluster.
I mean, yeah, it was the very first film.
Granted, it was 70 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But, like, if you're gonna try to have a filler in between, it should be a little bit more matched.
Which is, like, a big reason why I thought, like, just don't have Vader in the show whatsoever. Because you preserve the continuity of episode 4 that way. And plus, like, let me just say this too, that if your whole hullabaloo about why Anakin or why Obi-Wan spares Vader in that episode is because they both need to show up in episode 4, then don't have them in the same show.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple, man.
It's Obi-Wan's story, not Darth Vader's story.
Yeah, exactly.
They already had 3 movies. And honestly, I was talking about this with Ken earlier, like, the runtime is close. Like, the runtime of this miniseries and the runtime of all the 3 prequels is comparable. Like, I mean, obviously the full movies, but I think they're only like 2 hours each. I don't think they're really long films, like maybe 2.5 hours at the most.
Yeah.
But it's comparable runtime between the 2 of them. And just to have this short story in like the same amount of time and so much more story that they did in those 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could have done so much more with that time frame. And like, again, I agree with you, like, don't have both of them, or have them kind of like walk past each other. Like, have this moment where Obi-Wan's basically getting away. Darth Vader is like, oh, you have Obi-Wan. Oh, interesting, because he doesn't want people to know who he was before, that he was Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a big reveal that he's Anakin Skywalker in the original films. And also, I think it would have been nice for, like, if you were going to do a tie-in, how did Darth Vader find out that Luke was his son? You could have put that in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with a name like Skywalker, I'm pretty sure that's a big giveaway. Like, oh, that's my old surname.
But
yeah.
Finding out that his children are still alive...
Yeah.
Kind of a big fucking deal.
Considering the Emperor was like, no, they're all dead. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's more reason to be like, oh, the Emperor lied to me. I wonder what else he might have lied to me about.
Like, maybe that's a future project they'll have in, like, because they're making fucking Disney TV shows for literally everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we just found out they just cleared, like, 9 new series on Disney Plus that are Star Wars related.
Yeah.
From, like, little kids, preschool aged, to, like, raw and gritty.
To fucking furries.
Yeah.
Star Wars furries, the thing that only the furry community asked for.
Well, I mean, you gotta do stuff with Chewbacca, right?
They have to justify that love scene between Leia and Chewie.
They have to justify the Christmas special, like, where it goes...
Oh, yeah, where Chewie's dad is, like, getting horny on, like, a porno mag.
Oh my god, I forgot about that part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
that happened.
I mean, maybe that's a story they tell in the future, but, I mean, that wouldn't have been that bad to have thrown in that spoiler into that as well. Like, finding out, and then him having that conversation with Palpatine is like, so, I heard that about some Skywalker. And, I mean, maybe it might make things complicated or whatever, but at what point does Vader find out that Luke is alive and is not, like, pissed off about it? I mean, everybody fucking knows that scene, like, Luke, I am your father. Yeah. And in the original, it always just seemed like he kind of knew. Like, it wasn't a big surprise to him.
Yeah.
So him finding out at, like, an early stage when he's a child, but, I mean, what is he gonna do about it? Like, would he really drop everything and go get his son? No, he's busy basically, like, being, like, a guard dog to the Empire.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the words that Leia used. Like, oh, I should have known that you had later Vader on your leash.
Yeah,
like, Vader wasn't this big, all-powerful person. He was just, like, one of the many pawns, like, one of the many, like, different people who were working for the Empire.
He was the Emperor's gopher, basically.
Yeah. And so, it's like, finding out how Vader knew that Luke was alive and isn't, like, really fucking pissed off about it, so that when you have that scene of, like, Luke, I am your father, like, it would have been, like, made more sense, because as it stands right now, if he were to find out that his son was alive, I think he would be kind of pissed off about it.
A little bit.
Like,
Just a
he
little
probably would have been like, no, Batman! No!
My little panda bear!
No! Yeah. I know there's only so many ways you can polish a turd. Like, bold of them to even try to make an Obi-Wan series to try to tie in the shitstorm that is the prequels to the episode 4, you know, the original. But again, overall I liked the series. Like, it wasn't awful. It was okay. It was a thing. I agree with a lot of other YouTubers. Bringing a full circle, like, I agree with them that it was definitely a show. Yeah. It did entertain me. Yeah, for the most part, you know, it was a thing. Was it great? Honestly, I kind of liked Rogue One a little bit more. Spicy talk.
Ooh, that's rough. Well, then you must love that they're doing Andor, the one kind of forgettable Hispanic guy from the Rogue One movie. When
I looked it up, I'm like, who's Andor?
Yeah. The dude who dies at the end.
Like, I enjoyed Rogue One. Yeah. I enjoyed that story, not because it was dark or gritty or anything, but, like, it was interesting to see that story, you know? Like, you hear that, oh, we got the plans, okay. Well, to know the other people, again, not having a story connected to the Skywalkers, gold plus, like, gold star, A plus, like, good job, thank you for not including the Skywalkers, for the most part, into the story. Yeah. And to hear that it was, like, this big story of sacrifice, and, I don't know, I enjoyed it far, far more than a lot of the other stories that they've told. Like, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It was, again, a dumb action flick. I wasn't expecting anything grandiose or anything. It was an entertaining story. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's what happened. To find out more about Andor specifically, dumb. I don't give a shit about what he was up to.
No, not at all.
His character was literally a throwaway character.
Yeah.
They die.
He was written to die.
All of those characters are throwaway characters because you can't have them interfering with the timeline, because nerds are fucking toxic about that shit.
Yeah, they are.
And so you can't have anything thrown off that timeline, so those characters were doomed to die when they were first created. He's literally a throwaway character. Can you enjoy the characters? Yes. Can you enjoy the story? Yes. To me, it very much read like a Star Wars novel or like a graphic novel. Like a fun side story, kind of like a what-if story, you know? Yeah. Like, oh, knowing what happened. It was just kind of a nice filler, you know? Some nice Star Wars-related content. It had a better writing than anything I've seen so far. Like, Mandalorian, great. I really enjoy the writing of Mandalorian.
Same.
And that's fantastic. But, like, everything else that they've been creating, it's just been like, oh shit, Mandalorian brought back Star Wars. Quick, capitalize, make money, baby Grogu, everywhere Grogu, before we lose this again.
Yeah.
And that's what it just feels like. They're just pumping out as much of this Star Wars shit as they can before they lose money on it. While they still got that hype and that excitement for Star Wars. And it just makes it feel really overworn, overused, abused. Just kind of like, I don't want to say beating the dead horse, but it's like...
beating a dead bantha.
Yeah, beating that dead bantha. It's just like, it just feels like such a cash grab. And it makes you feel kind of like, it feel kind of gross. Like, oh, this is just a shameless cash grab. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people were just like, well, yeah, that was a story. That was a show. That was a thing. Cool. Yeah. Again, if they had just removed Reva's character, again, I love the actress. She thinks she did. I mean, I feel like she could have done better with her acting. And this is just more of like delivering lines and such. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a professional actor myself. I have had some training. I have studied.
You've done some improv and some performance, though, yourself.
And, like, looking at how all of the other, like, Empire people act, like, just... It's about voice and control and deciding what kind of... Because you're acting. You're not speaking lines as if it's you.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like. She wasn't actually acting. She was just delivering lines in her own voice as she would normally. Mm-hmm. And that's just delivering lines. That's not acting. That's just standing around saying lines. And so that would be my only complaint for her as an actress, was that I think that she wasn't... But again, I think it comes down to, like, the writers, because she wasn't given a clear character, because she's supposed to be, like, a youngling, but she's also supposed to be this, but she's also this, and she's also this, and also that. And I know that Disney made her probably sign a bazillion contracts not allowing her to talk about her process or her experience on set at all, because they keep that shit on lockdown super, super tight. And she probably wasn't allowed. Like, even if people did interview her, they're like, it was great.
Like, I think... like, because there were moments where, like, there was a very clear emotion that she needed to be presenting, and that she nailed. She, like when Obi-Wan was like, oh, I figured you out, like, she genuinely, as an actor, I think, conveyed the emotion that she was supposed to very well.
That was a tricky one, because you also have, like, all these people, you're trying to hide and mask, but you're also trying to convey, but also trying to hide and mask because you're acting. So it's a complicated, like, when she's showing smug, I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
She's being that smug girl.
When the director or the storytelling and the writers gave her something she knew how to work with, absolutely, she did a great job. When they just gave her, like, okay, just do this thing, do whatever you want, just freeform it, like, and I think that's a big hurdle for a lot of creative types, is that if you don't really have a clear definition of what you're wanting or what is expected of you, that it makes it just that much harder to do.
Well, I hear it a lot with voice actors.
Yeah.
Like, a voice actor is in that booth and they're saying, okay, can you make it a little bit more gritty? And they do it. Can you do it a little bit grittier? Okay, and they try it. And they basically go back to what it was the first one. Great. And you don't even, like, they didn't even really give you much clear direction, but they make you redo the scene again and again and again and again until they get what they want. Mm-hmm. And then what gets cut on the editing floor is a completely different thing, Yeah. And so I don't want to give her too much, like, criticism, because really I think it's the director and the writers are more to blame for her the failure of that character and not the actress.
Yeah, agreed.
And probably, now that I'm saying it out loud, the things I saw of her just talking lines is probably an actress who got tired of having to say the same exact damn 3 fucking words over and over and over again, being told, I need you to be more Sith-like. Okay, can you give me some direction? Sith-like.
Channel your inner dark side.
Like, I need you to be more Sith-like. Okay, but
what if you just, like, slipped it in there?
Yeah, just really Sith. Yeah, just bring out that Sith.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, because you see the same thing with the girl who played the girl elf in the Hobbit movies. Tandriel. Tariel,
yes. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Oh,
but
she got screwed.
Oh, she did. Yes, she did.
And so I try to give the actors and actresses and the performers more credit, because a lot of the shortcomings come through the people who are doing the editing and the directing and the writing. They're the people who get to decide what's in the movie in the end. And like they're just trying to do the best that they can. And I feel the same thing with that actress. And so, like, so many people, it's easier to blame the face because that's what they see, but they're not giving it, like, understanding how these things get made, and they put the blame in the wrong place. And honestly, if you want better Star Wars content, instead of taking the actress on social media saying you suck, find out who wrote the script.
Yeah.
Tag them on social media and shame them. That's how you get Disney's attention. They hate that kind of PR. Disney is all about good PR. And if you shame those actors, not the actors, but if you shame the writers and the directors, Disney will pay attention. They don't like that bad PR. I just realized that we're almost close to an hour of recording, and you have not explained what you're drawing.
I'm drawing a comic of the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan in the finale. You know what? If you want to find out how this comic ends, you can go to kenji.comics on Instagram, where I will be posting it. Actually, you know what? I'll post it the same day that we post this video.
Oh, awesome. That'll be great.
Yeah, so if you want to know, Kenji, KENJI.comics, COMICS, at Instagram.
Yeah. I think that'll be awesome. I'm excited for you to see this comic. You did a really great Vader.
Well, thank you. I'm really proud of it, and I'm really excited to finish up Obi-Wan as well.
Is there any other final thoughts that you wanted to share about the Obi-Wan show?
I do want to say my favorite character on the show was Tala. The Imperial officer who is like, I believed the propaganda and I wanted to join up and do my civic duty, and then I realized shit actually sucks.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't need an overly complicated backstory.
Yeah.
She didn't need to be some gritty character. She was just someone who wanted to do the right thing. She was a very clear, well-written, well-defined character. Her motivations, her goals were all very clear, and she was lovely. A lot of the supporting cast was lovely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of the pilots who were ferrying people along the path to get these Force-sensitive people out of Empire clutches, like, they were fantastic characters. Like, they were all about just empathy and wanting to help people and do good.
Yeah.
They were amazing characters, and I loved them. The main characters, I think they overwrote them, quite frankly, is how I felt.
You get too many cooks in the kitchen.
You really did.
You get too many executive board members who know nothing about the creative process, trying to come in and make decisions for other people and for these again, directors, creators. You end up just with too many cooks in the kitchen.
That's exactly the problem.
That's been one of my big complaints about Frozen. And a lot of other like modern Tangled 2 had that problem, but Frozen, the first one, had that problem where, like, what the fuck is up with the gnomes, the dwarves, the
trolls,
and then this and then this and then this, and the story just wasn't coherent. And I mean, like, I understand some people are like, well, it's just a story for dumb babies, but like, everyone gives so much praise to these Pixar movies that have good stories, really great storytelling, and they like, there's parts written for the adults and part written for the kids. And how many times do they have to make the same mistakes again and again and again and again? But for Disney, they learned with Frozen is that you don't need to have a good story to make a shit ton of money.
No.
And that's what Disney's all about.
Yeah.
Like, people say, oh, they're about good at storytelling, they're about, like, making it an experience for the whole family. No, they want your asses to go to Disneyland and spend a shit ton of money on all their products and crap.
Yeah, they know that if they make stuff for the whole family, they can get money from the whole family. Like, that's really it.
I mean, how many of us, like, have so many Disney movies we watched over and over over again that became, like, our babysitters when we were kids, like... And how many kids just, you know, enjoy those types of fun movies that they have permission that these are kid movies. I get to have this, you know, so many things are told no to kids to have your own special, like, these are my kids' movies. Like, you know, a lot of us grew up with that too. But, like, again, my biggest complaint about Frozen was that it was too many cooks in the kitchen. The story made no goddamn sense. And it just became a story just for kids.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of types of movies that already exist like that. You know, people were all like, let it go, let it go. Which was just like another version of Defying Gravity. Sang by the same actress.
Yeah. Idina Menzel, yeah.
Sang by the same exact person, same exact energy, same exact vibes. It's whether it's Frozen, owned by Disney, or on Broadway, you know, people like those types of uplifting songs with keychains and a powerful voice singing it. You know, Disney's good at marketing, and I will say they did a good job marketing Obi-Wan.
Yes,
like,
they did.
There was a lot of hype, there was a lot of things. I was excited to watch the Obi-Wan show. What they gave us, not so happy with.
Yeah.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people trying to get their hands involved in this. You know, again, they don't learn their lesson of like, well, Mandalorian was great because you had creative people who were working on it independently. They had full control, not like George Lucas, but they had like their own creative team that were working on it, and they had a clear vision and idea of what they wanted to do. You're welcome. They revitalized your whole IP.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be making enough money off of your Grogu sales in order to end your whole like Star Wars land that they spent all this money in.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Critter Corner. R.I.P. Rip Character Corner. I guess FNAF ruined it.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, something about animatronic animals does kind of creeps kids out.
A little bit.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Anyway, is that kind of, have we hit all the points that we wanted to? I know you're trying to wrap it up, so I just want to
actually
make sure.
I realized I started a little early because we're like right at an hour, and so because I wanted to give you a few more moments in case there was anything else you want to say. If there's more, sorry.
Oh no, I mean like I've pretty much covered the things that I like. Like, I really enjoyed Obi-Wan and Leia's relationship. Like, that was really nice, kind of that paternal bond that they were creating. Like, that was well done. But Tala was great. Like, there were things we did genuinely enjoy about the show. I hated how incompetent the entire Empire, all the villains were. Like, that I felt like we were just really ripped off on that, quite frankly.
And again, I'll stress this point, is that normally I can forgive kind of dumb, hokey things like that. Again, I don't look at Star Wars being like this epitome of grandiose storytelling. Like, it's not like Citizen Kane or like this art house shit. It's a fucking Star Wars movie. I'm not trying to pretend like it's anything more than what it is. Normally I can overlook those types of things, but when it becomes so glaringly obvious again and again and again and again, it takes you out of the story. Yeah. It immediately takes you out of the story and like, this makes no fucking sense. Why the hell would they care about this? And then immediately your brain's now being... Oh, that looked like body hair for a second.
Oh, no. That was not my intention.
Screen capture that one.
Oh, jeez.
But,
oh, jeez.
It does take you out of the film. It takes you out of the show. It takes you out of what you're watching. And now instead of like actually just enjoying it, you're now thinking critically of everything you're watching, and now you're starting to see the normal little things. It's kind of like when like you start driving a new car, right? You just bought yourself a new Mitsubishi, and now you see Mitsubishis everywhere, right? Because you're more aware of it. Once you are aware of a big glaring plot hole, now you're aware of all the other potholes, and you're not having a good time anymore. It's inevitable. Like get out of my way, flyboy. Like, everyone's like, how would Leia have known that he was a pilot? Ah! It was a dumb movie from the 70s.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, get over yourself, people. Like, it's just supposed to be dumb, fun entertainment, not this end-all, be-all. And, I think with Disney just failing and doing this shit over and over and over again, just making the same mistakes, I think people are finally realizing that Star Wars isn't that cool. Star Wars is okay, you know? It's just like anything else, and you can enjoy it like anything else, but to try to put it on this giant pedestal of like the end-all, be-all, great storytelling, it simply isn't. And it could have just been a fun, dumb series, but they tried to bite off more than what they could chew. They tried to make it to be something that it wasn't, and like you said, it's just, it took you out of it, it ruined it, and I wish I could have had a better time, honestly. I enjoy Ewan McGregor, and, yeah. I think that's all the ranting I got out of me.
Okay.
I feel so much better. Do you feel better?
Do you lay lighter, just like you got all that shit out of you?
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
For those who are watching, I hope you feel lighter too. Thank you so much for watching our video. We do plan on doing more recorded videos like this and just talking and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like a...
Just having fun.
Podcast, like
Jam and Jabber
podcast. But like, what if Ken's drawing some other stuff and we don't have a chat? Yeah. But you can feel free to leave comments.
Absolutely.
Please subscribe. Please do all the things. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear in the comments what people thought of the Obi-Wan series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your thoughts, your feelings, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you have better ways that you think Reva's character could have been fixed, I would love to hear it in the comments.
Oh, absolutely.
We are still taking a little vacation. Again, this is going to age very well. And we'll be back to our weekly streaming like we like to do every Saturday at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But in the meantime, we do want to do some more recordings. So if there have different things that you'd like us to hear us talk about. Do you have spicy opinion about Sonic? Because we do. You want me to hear rant about how much I hate Hawkeye again?
Oh,
I'll do it.
That's right. We do have plans for our anti-Hawkeye stream.
Oh, I'll do it again. I will absolutely tell you all my spicy opinions about Hawkeye and how much I hate him. Or if there's other things that you would like to hear us talk about while Ken draws, feel free to leave it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear your opinions.
Yeah, but we don't want to make this video too long. Thank you so much for watching. Again, Ken, you got any last things to say?
Hey, come check out Kenji.comics on Instagram.
Yeah.
I should put a link in the video as well to that comic. That's my plan. Link in the description below to the finished comic. Yeah.
It's gonna be really funny.
It will. I'm really excited for this.
Can I leave one big spoiler?
No, don't spoil it.
You have to go to Kenji Comics on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the spoiler.
Yeah. the final version.
Yay!
All right. We'll catch you later. Oh, that. Anyway. Peace out.